Y'all, season 3 of Girl Call Me with Tanya and Jessica is all about community.
Because listen, in a world that's getting wilder by the day, one thing we know for sure, we can't do this alone.
And this season, we're diving into how we show up for each other, build our circles, and find joy, no matter what's going on in this crazy world.
And of course, we're bringing our usual mix of real talk, hot topics, and deep conversations because you know we have things to discuss.
And as always, we're keeping it raw, keeping it funny, and keeping it real. Because if we can't be honest here, then girl, call me later.
So grab your tea, get comfy, and get ready for a season full of laughs, love, and the kind of conversations you need in your life.
It's season 3, and we're just getting started. You know what? Jessica?
Blessings. Shabana.
Blessing. Listen, okay. I have one thing to say. Miss Onijah Robinson. I saw her advertising wigs yesterday. I saw her advertising furs on another commercial. I saw her. What I want to say is, as I said before, for 2025, Black women are just doing themselves, doing their own thing, living their lives. And listen, this 92%, she's 92%.
Unijah isn't just doing it on her own though. She's finding all the people to join her. And she's calling them out. Like who's helping? Who's on my journey? Who's on my team? Who's on my team?
I really want to say one thing. Unijah, we want you on the show.
Hey girl, my maiden name is Robinson. We may be related. Let's check it out. Come on the show.
Call us, girl.
Call us.
Call us because we want to hear about Pakistan. We want to hear about your husband. We want to hear about the sponsorships. We want to hear about everything. I can't believe we started.
We'll bring you on as a consultant.
Girl, she might host. She's gonna be a guest co-host.
Okay.
With you.
Unijah,
that's what I'm saying.
Please, Unijah, please join us.
Call us. Call us. Listen, I feel like Unijah is my other side in Brooklyn.
And you know why? Yeah, you know why I like Unijah? Well, I don't know that I like her, but you know what the thing is about
we just
Unijah.
asked her to be on the show, and then you questioned whether you liked her.
Okay, you're right. I like her. But the thing is, she's out here and she's like, look, I'm not trying to be anyone for anybody. I'm trying to do this for myself. Unlike Gayle King, who went to space to save us all. So that we could see ourselves, so that I too could imagine myself in a spandex onesie on a flight as part of a fake crew going to space.
You know what? This is how we're starting. Because guess what? I will say that when I heard Gayle was going to space, and let's just go into this. I think the difference, your point is really good, is well taken. Unijah is doing her own thing, but she's not allowing others to use her as a prop.
Right.
She's like, listen, I'm going to prop myself up.
Yeah, she props herself up. She's fine being a prop, but she's like, what I'm not going to do is, you're not going to put me in that position. I'm going to put myself in that position.
Right. And you're going to pay me $20 and some land. Listen, but when I think about Gayle, when I first heard that she was going to do this, I was like, this is poor Gayle. At first I was like, who made her do this?
Right.
Why is Oprah abusive? Why is her best friend abusive? But then she just kind of dug her heels in, was crying on every show, saying how scared she was of flying, felt like she was overcoming some obstacle. And then she got on that little fake flight, went up into some fake space, holding daisies. You know, what was it? What was her name? Who was on the flight with her with the daisy, the singer?
Oh, Katy Perry.
Katy Perry had daisies. You know, everyone was saying, you know, take up space. And it's just, in some ways, it just felt like fake feminism wrapped in a marketing ploy. Mr. Amazon dude.
I was going to say, for a white man, like the idea. So let's start with like the first problematic piece of this was They were calling this group of passengers on a space tourism flight a crew. So
Astronauts.
when I get on my Delta flight tomorrow, I'm gonna make sure they know I'm on crew, right? Like I'm here on crew, and because I'm being like, what are you talking about? These are not astronauts. These are people that are sitting as a passenger on a flight. So that's the first issue. Are we gonna call it an expedition or are we gonna call it space tourism? Because if it's tourism, she just took a trip. Just
She
like
took
old girl, just like someone took a trip on the bus this morning, just like I'm about to take a trip on Delta tomorrow. She took a trip.
and it was
That's it.
11-minute trip, round
An
trip.
11-minute trip. Okay.
Round trip.
This is just as, I mean, this is what I did on my Waymo last week.
Okay, girl, you and your way move. I will say, when she started hearing the criticism, and we may post some of the videos, she said, "Have y'all been there? Have you been in space?" No,
No,
Gail,
Gail,
we are
we
not
haven't.
rich enough to actually pay I think it was 300,000 to $1.2 million to get a seat on that plane. Nobody had no one else. Everybody's just worried about tariffs right now and eggs.
Right.
That's where
So,
we're at.
so yeah, the other so right. So we start with the problem of this was not an expedition. This was tourism. Then we go to the comments where she kept saying, and everyone else was saying, all the little girls out there are looking and seeing
Nobody.
you,
Nobody's
and
looking.
they see themselves in you, and you're making it possible. Making what possible? What
You're
little girls
making
are watching and going, "Oh my god, one day I too could sit on a flight." She's not flying. She's not flying. She's not an engineer. So we just
she
want
had
little girls to look at her
zero
and go,
training. Zero
look at,
training.
yeah. So that's the second part. Now the third part is I don't know much about space tourism, but what I do know is astronauts didn't used to be in Skims suits. So why did this 5-woman crew need to be in skin tight Lycra outfits?
With beat faces
Oh yeah, full
and
makeup and
wigs,
full hair.
and those lace fronts didn't move. Those lace fronts,
Even in the
even
weightlessness.
even
Even in the
even in the
weightlessness.
weightlessness. Now, I will say, I think I've had those weightlessness. It's isn't it like Disneyland? They have those kind of rides in which you can be weightless too.
What?
But I think we
No,
can
listen, one
continue.
more thing. I got one more thing.
You got
The oh I gotta keep going. The only thing that I kind of could get behind was Oprah. And Oprah's smart enough to do this, so this is not a shocker. Because her comments were about Gail's courage, which is like fine. She's like, she's so afraid of this. I'm so proud of
overcoming
her.
fear.
She said she called it a true definition of courage. Fine. But why is that news? And why is that something that someone should look like? What? There's definite true definitions of courage every damn day.
Every
But
damn day.
right.
Every damn day, Black women are standing up to lots of different things, and it's not a
Not
spaceship. It's not an outfit in a space suit for 11 minutes and you kissing the floor because you're grateful that you got out of there.
and they're bonded forever because when they got to the top, Katy Perry started singing and Gail said, "We're bonded forever." Girl, go to space. Stay there.
Did you say go to space? Well, that's what Burger King said. And
Oh,
she
did
was
they?
hurt.
Burger King.
I think it was Burger King. She's posted something and Burger King said, "I wish he stayed." Or Carl Jr.'s. Oh, I think it was Carl Jr.'s. I'll correct myself.
I mean,
But
it's
listen,
just so ridiculous. The fact that people stopped their entire lives, as much stuff is going on in the
shit,
world, we
shit going on.
stopped news to focus on this. What are we actually doing? What I need everyone who thought that was a cool experiment to pause and be like, did you give that much time this week to something that actually mattered? Or were you
But
just
do you know who the
behind the
commentary?
courage?
But I will say this is a bigger thing. This is nothing to do with Gail and her lost self thinking that she found space. This is not really about Katy Perry or any of the other women. There was actually one scientist and astronaut that was actually had some that actually may have should have been on this. But I think the idea that this was representation and how sometimes when you're successful, you have blinders on. And I
Yeah.
don't know, I think she really, Gail honestly thinks she was doing something. And my questions, she thought she was doing something. She thought when she got down from them flight, she was going to
Right.
read the paper, read the
Right.
news, and people were going to be the posts are going to be like, "Oh
Yeah.
my God, Gail
Right.
is Gail is my queen. Gail,
Oh
Auntie
yeah.
Gail did it. Auntie Gail did it."
Yeah.
That's what
It's
she thought.
seducing. It seduces them. And I think that this idea that visibility of a thing you do, regardless of what the thing is, even if it's just I sat passenger, like just the visibility in itself is like, I'm fighting for equity. What? Like,
You're
I
fighting
what?
for equity with a man that doesn't want you to have DEI, who takes advantage.
Okay.
This company is
Okay.
owned by a
o-
man that
Okay.
does not care about you as a
Okay.
black woman.
Okay. And guess what? All of space tourism right now is run by white men who think the same way. Who's the other
Right.
person in the space tourism game?
Well, we know.
So, like this
I'm not
idea
going to
that
give
like
him credit. I'm not going to give him credit, but at least the other person that you're referencing went and saved the astronauts that were stuck in space.
oh,
And
because
I will give
that was not a news story. The first thing they talked about when she got back, the woman who was out there, look how gray her hair is. I'm sorry.
had nothing to
What?
do with the fact that she'd been stuck up there with nothing
No.
and she looked gaunt. She didn't look healthy. What do you think she's gonna look like? You-
I think blinders on is the right thing because next time you do something and you feel in a certain way about yourself and you're puffing your chest, look around yourself and make sure it's not just a
Right,
bunch of other people who don't look like you telling you to do it,
right, right. And
right?
it's not a bunch of people who are just gassing you up, who are actually taking an advantage of you and really using you as a prop. And that's
She's
the facts.
yeah, she said we're doing this for people here on earth. Girl, I need people here on earth to be able to buy eggs. I need people here on earth to not feel like they are going to be deported from a country that they have called home. Like I don't I'm sorry. I'm not sure what you're working on right now as a passenger on that flight that's helping anybody. Okay?
Right, and I think that is part of the bigger issue that I think many people had. There are real big problems right now, and there was such a distraction. So, and you're right, rightfully so. Everyone was looking at this spectacle of nothing for how long? They were talking about it on every channel and interviewing her. This media blitz when we have a man that's a US citizen that can't get home to his wife and kids.
Right.
And we have real people who are losing benefits and students who are not able to come back into this country who are who are imprisoned getting imprisoned right
Right.
now.
I'm gonna build on what you said and say, yeah, I'm just gonna best intent here is that
That's
she
intense.
really had her blinders on and she really
Blinders.
deep down felt like I am doing something that matters to people and is helping people. Like I will let's just say best intent, that's where her heart was at.
Let's give her that.
Okay. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like, look, best intention, like I'm here, I'm doing the most, I'm trying to
Doing that.
move this cause, and then you afterwards looked around and were like, was I just used as a pawn?
Sometimes you're in the only one in a situation, and I think many of our listeners, particularly women of color, has been the only one, and you think you're laying the path, and that puts whatever pressure on you. But you think that you're doing something, the DEI, the hiring, the support, all of the different committees that you're trying to do, and at the end, it's a useless spin, and you're really not really doing anything. And I think that sometimes, whether it's you being involved in an organization or doing different volunteer work and really, in some ways trying to support any cause, you think you're really moving it forward, but sometimes you're really just not. And
Yeah,
sometimes you have to acknowledge it and say, you know what am I really doing here?
right. Yeah. That's that like someone asked me something the other day about like, do I ever doubt myself? And I was like, no, but don't I doubt other people's perceptions of me, and I don't trust other people's perceptions of me,
Right.
which means ultimately I doubt sometimes the situations I'm in, that I'm not really doubting myself. And I think that that is like what this situation is kind of. It's like I know what I'm showing up for, but like I'm not the kind of person who just like believes that other people have my best interest. I'm actually kind of quite the opposite. I have a hard time believing
Mm.
anyone has my best interest. It's February when they want you to tell your story because it's Black
Yes,
History Month.
because it's Black History Month, or if you're queer, "Oh my god, are you a lesbian? Can I have you come and speak on a panel?" I
But
actually
God
had
forbid,
someone.
or if you're a black lesbian female, they could use your story for 3 months. Well, back when
There's
we were allowed to have months,
right, we don't have
they
months anymore.
we don't have that,
We
but
don't
back in the
anymore.
day, kids who may not
Right,
be know this, we used to have
right.
months. Your story could be used for 3 months.
Here's what I mean. I remember yesterday is so funny, and I don't know if this is relevant, but I just think it felt connected in a sense of yesterday. Someone sent me a message. It was about a job. I'm not looking for a job. I'm perfectly happy in my job, but someone sent me a job for Obama Foundation, and they're like, "Ooh, this is this job for Obama Foundation," and I just said, "Are you interested in applying?" And they're like, "Oh, no, I assumed you would wanna be there." So I was like, "Nobody a" this is like this is a friend on social media.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought to myself that this person thought they were being good intentioned.
Yeah, yeah.
They thought they were being supported. They know
Yeah.
how my posts are.
Yeah.
And they thought, "Well, she must wanna work for Black people, and here's Obama." But let's just turn a little bit, and we started talking about corporate America. But, you know, and I think in some ways the exhausting experience of being asked to show up. And it's kind of the same thing we're talking about, the optics without the support. It's
Yeah.
the optics without the funding. It's the optics without any real authority to make change or do anything different.
Yeah.
But they want you to just show up. And in some ways we're saying we're not.
I think what's happened if you think about, I guess, corporate America is there's so few Black women in executive roles. You know, you talk about
Right.
the proverbial boardroom table, right? Or conference room or whatever, boardroom. There's so few Black women on boards. There's so few Black women in executive positions that if a company, to your point about like trying to
Change.
meaning well, right?
Yeah.
Most likely they're going to have to call more people in, call in the troops because they don't have representation at their senior level. They don't have representation on their board. There's just not enough people and that are getting those opportunities. So I think what happens is like for so many of us, like we're used to that feeling of, oh my God. I mean, I remember actually a role I was in years past, and I had to go to this presentation of the board. And I said to my coworker, I said, I'm really nervous. And he goes, why? You know, like, we're just the ones coming in because, you know, we're middle managers. He's like, we're just the ones coming in to present. Like, they're not going to give the feedback to us. Like, who cares? Like,
Right.
they're not going to be upset with us. And I said, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just really nervous. And this is a 6'5" white man who I was talking to.
He's fine.
And then
Right.
I'm like rationalizing, and then I just stopped myself. I said, I don't think they probably ever heard from a third at the
Mm.
time, I think I was probably 30 years old woman
Black
Black
woman.
woman coming to tell them about how we should be doing our business differently. And he was like, "Oh." And this is like this is someone who, I'm not going to
Mm.
use the woke term, but pretty, I mean, like not
Oh, right.
oblivious.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh my God, I never thought about that." Because he was just like not even thinking that he wouldn't even come with that pressure, right? And I think that's an experience where I've had where I'm like, okay, look, they're trying, they're bringing us to the table, but I'm kind of being set up in a way, not to fail, but I'm not being set up for success because I'm coming in a place that no one's ever been before me, and no one's there to
Right.
coach me through it. And
And I think
everyone who's
right.
there is like, "What's the big deal?"
And I do think that I think that's why more mentors, women of color, are needed in those spaces, right? Because the expectation is that, oh, you're just going to be like me. We're good. We're going to get this done. But no, there's no knowledge, no understanding that
Yeah,
you might feel a little different, or they may be looking at you like,
right.
what does she think she knows? I know I've been in many situations that I felt like someone was thinking, or a group was thinking, well, I'm just waiting for her to mess up. Is she
Yeah,
going to be, wow, she's so articulate. Wow, she knows her stuff.
right.
And I feel like we always have to show up in that form or fashion, particularly as women of color.
To be totally honest, when people say, "Talk to me about your mentors," it's like because the the
It's
the
interesting.
suggestion there is that there's someone more senior to you who's giving
Mm,
you these nuggets and these
these tips.
and we just said that 2% of executives are Black females. So that
Right.
it's just suggesting that you need to get information from someone who's been there before, which is fine. I get it. But as a woman of color, I'm not, I don't know. I I think there's parts of me and parts of my journey that can be supported by someone who's been in my space before, for sure. I'm not saying that I can't learn from anybody. But what I
Right. No
can
one can.
say is I'm not about to wear down the 2% of Black women who are in executive roles with like,
Mm,
can you help bring me forward? In my opinion, they're not being Gayle King. Them sitting in their seat and doing their damn Black job every day is
right.
mentoring. Like without
Right.
even talking to me,
But
because they are opening doors for me.
right. They're
And
paving the way without having to give you 30
sit
minutes, an hour of
it's
their time every
right, and
week,
do a
every other
career
month.
coaching conversation where I'm like navigating their they're navigating my challenge this week with a direct report. Like, what?
I don't okay, so I don't 100% agree. What I do think, there's a difference between mentors and sponsors.
Mhm.
I think that I'm not necessarily have to meet you every, whatever for a mentoring conversation. But I will say there have been people who have taken time for me while I was coming up and throughout my career to say, hey, I'm gonna need you to get a better bag. Hey girl, I'm gonna need you.
I'm gonna need that to not be their first tip to you. I'm gonna need you to get a better
I
bag.
I'm gonna need you to get a better bag when you're going on visits as a fundraiser.
Okay, girl, but
I'm gonna need you to have a tighter suit on I'm gonna have you have a better fitting suit.
okay.
Yes. Okay, let's talk a little bit about tokenism in social circles and activism. Because I
Okay.
know that we have all had those situations in which that progressive friend or that lovely liberal, as someone who spent their majority of their career and life around liberals, particularly in higher education, that also always wanted to do something for someone
Well,
and
higher education, but also if that's for you, but nonprofit space for
nonprofits,
sure is my
period.
career. Yeah.
Right. Nonprofits, period, in which they're always the good intended. The good
Yeah.
intended sometimes can be the damaging.
Yeah. Well, you know who showed this best is Issa Rae in the beginning of Insecure with we remember she worked for the
Oh,
nonprofit
the nonprofit. And they're
We Got Y'all. We Got
right.
Y'all.
Right. Oh my God. It was the most offensive, but the funniest. And it's honestly, that was life.
So true.
That was
So
that
true.
was all my life
If you
throughout
have
my whole
worked in a
career.
if you've worked in a nonprofit that focuses on supporting some vulnerable population, you already know what it is.
Girl,
The when they showed the logo with like the
girl.
four different colored hands holding, it's like, oh my God. Every nonprofit has a house or a hand, three different shades, and that was what We Got Y'all was, right?
I'm
It's like
gonna tell you,
amazing.
I worked for a nonprofit a very long time ago. And I will say they supported underrepresented families who needed, you know, support, like home support and family support and so forth for a particular population. And I will say that was the most racist, misogynist. I had one experience, and I'll tell you this one example. I had our chief officer who, when I would walk down the hallway,
Oh my
she said,
God,
"Oh
I
my
know
God."
this.
She'd look out and go, "Oh my God, Tanya, when you walk down the hallway, the whole place shakes." Then one day,
And she didn't mean because you're a mover and a shaker.
because my booty was big, right? And then one day she found out, what my government name is. And she was like, "Oh my God, you people are so creative." And I will tell you what I did.
I filed a lawsuit.
I didn't know. No, no, because I actually honestly don't believe in it. Like I think you should do change without doing you. I don't think that really always changes
You
things.
should go to
I
space. You should go to
I'm
space.
going. I went up to Mars or something. Um,
And took a
I
picture and
I
sent it
took
back to her
and
and said,
sent
"Look,
it back and said, "Heffa, no." But what I did is I wrote a memo. I
man,
wrote a
I
well-written memo that
articulate."
looked like a legal brief outlining the instances that there were microaggressions, racism, and all things. Do you know they enacted immediate training, had legal call me? There was a whole policy change
And
that
I
happened.
already know, like, you put it was like that your Jerry Maguire moment. You put in all the mailboxes, and then you just sat home, brewed a cup of tea, put your legs up, and just waited.
And sipped
Just
and said,
waited.
I said, "Happy Friday."
Burn this
And I
down.
remember, I think that person was fired eventually. But I will say that sometimes we have to do something that, particularly in those type of spaces. And so, have you ever had an instance in which you felt that you were a token in an organization or in a friendship?
Oh, I was like, "Girl, always."
In a friendship.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sipping again.
yeah, I not to get like, well, I don't know if I'll get deep, but yeah, I mean, I think growing up in a place where most people, I guess growing up in California, in Southern
Mm.
California,
Oh, yes.
in a liberal part of Southern California, in a space where there wasn't a ton of diversity, I think well-meaning tokenism happens all the time, right?
I've been the black friend throughout my
Yeah, I mean,
life.
we talked about
Right.
Cherry and Tootie last week,
Mhm.
and and being the black comic relief and the friend in that
How
situation.
do you set boundaries in that? How do you set boundaries in those type of situations? Or have you in the past set boundaries with people who you feel like are kind of, when you're like, why are you inviting me to this? Why are you? I mean, it's like the person who sent me that, Obama ad. Now they're well meaning, but I will say they only sent it to me because of the color of my skin. And I just was
Yeah.
like, you must be applying, or this must be for you.
See, it's so interesting. This is where you and I are very different in unexpected ways, right? Like, I
Hmm.
don't let people that close to me I'm a skeptic, like I said. So I feel if I feel something
Okay.
off from you in the beginning, I'm not gonna let you be close enough to me that you're gonna say something that's gonna trigger me this much. Like, I've probably
Mhm.
already dismissed you from my life pretty early on. So the
Okay.
the boundaries for me don't aren't necessarily as important as like I guess it's more for me like what are the things you notice right away about someone that are like
Mm,
more like red flags that
yeah.
like, "Oh, I don't wanna be this person in this person's life." I mean, truly understanding someone's friend group and, like, learning more about
Mhm.
someone, and if at any point someone says something about I remind them of a friend that they have and I ask a follow-up question, that friend is black, you can go ahead and
You
surely
can
know
you
that
can
I'm
you can
done.
burn my
You can
number.
know that
Burn.
I'm done there. If someone tells me about their life and their relationships and they don't have any other people of color in their lives, like, that's a yellow, and I'm trying to understand why, because maybe you are, like, actually trying to diversify your friend group, and that is something that I'm, like, okay with to a certain point, so that's, like, a
Right.
yellow flag for me, but yeah, I don't let a lot of people close enough to me that I'm gonna then have to
Yeah.
be like, so you let them in, but then you get because you're like ready to tell them off. I just don't even let them in.
I'm not trying I don't know if I'm not naturally trying to tell everybody off, but maybe I
No, but
am. Maybe,
yeah, but
but
maybe
I'm
that's the
waiting for
energy
you.
you come with. I'm just more like,
I'm
look,
waiting for you. I'm looking, I'm waiting. But I think I am a different person today a while ago. In my 30s, I was We Are the World and I let everybody in. I think I'm a different person I'm definitely in my 40s and 50s. I definitely hold a different sort of awareness. I can look at you and tell. I can
right.
look. I
Yeah.
mean, I can ask you probably a question. We can have an engagement. I can look under the hood without you know I'm looking under the hood and I can know where you're dealing with. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I put you in a pile. There are people that I give grace to that I tend to feel bad for. And I
Yeah,
think
you do have a
that
lot more grace than I do.
that pulls me in because there is a part of me that wants you to be better. And that part that wants you to be better sometimes gives you probably too much leeway.
Right, latitude. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I just I keep a my 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 gates closed and tight. You're often the one who's having to tell me like, "Jessica, do" like,
Jessica, just
"Open
be a
up.
little,
Just
come
see, maybe
on.
they mean well." And I'm like,
You're
I'm
like, no. I know, and I still, yeah. I mean, I've
I don't
learned
do a
long
lot
enough.
of I don't do a lot of gray.
No, you don't have grace.
No.
Oh,
I
grace,
mean, I have gray
gray.
hair, but
No grace and no gray. No
yeah.
grace and no gray.
Oh, I have
That's a
gray.
t-shirt. That's
Oh,
a
I won't give
t-shirt.
grace. Yeah.
You don't give grace, girl.
No.
Don't give grace. That's a t-shirt it's about to have. So let's talk about visibility because that's what Gail was trying to do. Gail was trying to hold space in space. And how do we use visibility as a tool, not a trap?
Yeah.
Because I
Uh,
feel like it can trap you because you're like working so hard to have visibility and be a scene. And
yeah.
sometimes you're not looking around and paying attention to some of the things around you and you're
I
missing it.
think it's the nature of what it is. If it's for good, I mean, I think you can actually ask yourself questions about like, is this ultimately for the betterment of someone else? And that's the question I don't think she asked herself, but I think that is the question
Wow.
of like, if it is about what say you are the only black person in your company and they want to do something for Black History Month and you have a story they ask you to tell a story about something significant in your life that maybe would be teaching someone something. Yeah, maybe you're like uncomfortable and yeah, you are being used as a tool to help them advance some goal of theirs. But also, is it ultimately for good? Ultimately, are people going to learn something more and are they going to like see you know, maybe it's the first story they've seen and it humanizes your experience and whatever, like then I think you make that judgment call. If you're just going to space to, you know, whatever it was to go to battle your courage of flying on a plane, that's like, okay, girl, I like know what it is then. They didn't put you on this just because. There's a reason you're there. And there was like 16 criteria and probably a big chart that they had that said we needed to have one of these, someone with the lace front, someone over 70, someone who's black, and you fit the box and like know what it is. You were used.
And you were
Ah,
willing to go, and you're willing to go. But how do we let's give our listeners a few tips on how to identify and
yeah, I would say
reshape the
if
things.
it's in an election year, it's performative. These days, if you feel something strange and it's in an election year, go ahead and yeah, it is. It is.
I think we have to ask more questions.
Yeah,
I think we have to ask if whatever is being asked of you. I think you have to ask the follow-up questions. You have to listen closely. I think not everything is an opportunity. You
no,
don't have to take, and you know what? I said this recently. I think I said in the last episode, I don't have to take every call.
right.
I don't have to respond back to you.
And you don't have to explain yourself. I think that's where I get caught up sometimes. That's why I'd rather
Mm.
just not even have the conversation because I suddenly feel like I have to explain myself like, well, no, I'm just not really. It's like, you don't have to explain yourself. No is a complete sentence.
No, no is
Right.
okay.
You
No, it's
want to go to
okay.
a brunch with my friends. This was one of my girlfriend's stories. We read a book in book club that's about the Black experience, but none of our friends in the
Are
club
black?
are Black.
Okay.
Is this something you'd want to do this month? Because we don't want to have the conversation without representation in the room. Well,
What?
I need you to get I need you to find more Black readers then, because I'm not the one, right? So I think
I'm not getting those emails. Nobody's emailing.
no, I didn't say that was no one's asking me that, but uh, I had a friend who that happened to, and again, intentions were good, right? Not only were they reading something different, they were also didn't want to have a conversation without someone in the room, but like
Blessings. Yeah.
didn't think about how that would make the person feel. Like, oh, great, I'm a
Right. I'm
yeah,
coming as a prop. Literally,
as a
that's a
guest
prop.
speaker, yeah,
I'm coming to tell you to allow you to touch my hair
right,
and so you to go, is that all you?
right,
No, we're not. You know what? That's when I say, have your white space. Have your
right,
white spaces, read the book, and get on Reddit and ask a
right,
question.
right,
Reddit will
right,
answer your question.
yeah,
But I think that for me, I want to encourage our listeners to show up, and not show up as decoration, but show up as a decision maker, and show us as someone who is aware of why you're walking into that. We're acting like, Gayle didn't know what she was doing. Gayle knew what she was doing. Maybe. I mean, she is yelling in every interview now, post, because she's really angry. But maybe she didn't. I think, and I go back to, I think she thought we were all going to celebrate her.
yeah. Well, I think
Eh,
it was just it was such an added touch. I think, yeah, she thought we were gonna celebrate, and she hadn't come to terms with really how out of touch she is. Girl, we can't go on a flight to space.
And she said, "Have y'all been?" I was like, "That's a whole sentence. That was just crazy." I was like, "No,
No,
nobody
girl,
has been.
we haven't.
Nobody has been." The last one was William Shatner. That was the last time, and it was all white men. I don't know.
Right,
It's fine. So I guess that's progress. That's
right.
progress in some ways. Who's your shine sis shine for this week?
Kiki Iriafen is my Kiki
Kiki,
Iriafen
who
for
was beat,
WNBA. Yes, the
who was
WNBA
beat.
draft was a little bit ago. Kiki Iriafen, who was a Stanford grad and then went in the transfer portal, played her 5th year at USC. Now, let me tell you why she's my shine.
Tell me.
1, she was literally shining. Nigerian designer,
Mhm.
beautiful gold, looked amazing. But more importantly, she just did her 5th year. And you heard me say she went to Stanford. She just did her
Right?
5th year at SC, got her master's, and was on the all athletic team of the NCAA. And I think she was the number 1 athlete of the year. So highest GPA.
Oh,
So
I
you know
love
what?
it.
And she got drafted. So go ahead to Washington,
Go
DC.
Kiki. Can you believe I know who she is? I watched
Yes,
the
I
draft.
can. Yeah, I know. I
I
know
was
you
there.
did.
I was commenting on the wardrobe and the face. The
Yeah,
face,
you're like, this is like only thing you were watching is because they had an orange carpet.
the fashion. I
The
was looking at the
fashion.
fashion.
Yeah.
And speaking of fashion, I'm really excited about the what's the gala?
The Met Gala.
I'm
The
really
Met Gala.
excited about the Met Gala. I'm excited about the theme. I loved the cover of Vogue.
What is the theme?
The theme is, I think, Black men. It's like that whole it's a whole theme around Black men.
What are white people gonna do?
Okay, let
This
me look
sounds
at.
problematic. How are you gonna have a whole theme called Black Men?
Okay, it's
Like,
not called Black Men. The theme of the Met Gala this year is SuperFine,
okay.
Tailoring Black Style. This theme is also the name of the corresponding costume institute. So it's basically Black Daddy.
I
So
am
it's kind of
so
it's
worried about this.
do you want to
Black
know?
Daddy?
Fact, yes. And it's like the exhibition explores archetype, the role of clothing and style in shaping Black identity.
I am
You want to know?
so worried about all the people who have no Black identity. Is this just gonna be I mean, are they what? What is
Are,
happening?
are you disturbed by that? I actually am so
I mean,
excited.
I'm excited for what the Black people are gonna do, but I feel like this could get
Y-
appropriated quick.
The chairs are
Girl,
Coleman Domingo, Lewis Hamilton, ASAP Rocky,
all
Pharrell
fine.
Williams,
All fine.
and LeBron James. So you know why it's called
I
SuperFine.
hear you. Okay, again,
SuperFine.
I think this is an
This is gonna be exciting.
incredible
It's gonna be exciting.
thing for all Black people. I think if you are a white celebrity who usually goes to the gala, you're probably very nervous right now. Like, how
I
am I
just need
about
to
to
know.
show up? How am I about to show up and not be I'm Taylor Swift. How am I coming as Black Daddy?
Black Zaddy. Black Zaddy. I think Zandy or Daddy or something. It was Black Daddy or something. You're coming. How are you coming as super fine? I feel like there's a black exploitation movie.
Oh,
I feel like there's a black
oh,
exploitation film coming. Super fine.
this feels
But
this feels proppy.
oh jeez. We went straight to prom. Well, Anna Wintour is always problematic, but I will say that the cover, I posted it on our Instagram stories.
I saw Asia
The
Wilson in
Asia's
that.
in, I mean, we're talking, there was such a great array of beautiful black and in those styles.
Again, girl,
That was giving you a guide. That was giving you a
I'm
guide.
not worried about
The
I am
black
really
people.
not worried Black people. I am really saying if you are Billie Eilish or or Taylor Swift or Kim
The-
Kardashian,
You're
uh,
coming in a tailored, beautiful man suit with a flair. You're coming like
let's hope.
Coleman. You're
Let's
calling
hope.
Coleman stylist.
And then they're
And
gonna someone's gonna add Jordans onto it and be like, "Isn't this it?"
I don't even know how LeBron got on this list, but it's fine. I mean,
Because
it's
he's a
fine. I think
because he's a Black billionaire. That's how he got on the
okay,
list.
everybody
Did you
calm
forget
down.
about the B after his name?
I'm not sure he's a style icon. I think
Oh, he
Pharrell,
is. Oh, he's a style
ASAP,
icon. No, I don't
girl,
think
based on
LeBron's a
what?
style. I think he's a style icon.
Based on what? They
How he
that you
dresses.
love
Have you
the
again,
yellow.
first of all, I'm gonna say he's a billionaire. So the man dresses very
Okay.
well. And his wife dresses well too.
I just maybe I've only seen him on the court. Maybe that's what I
Girl,
focus
that's
on is the
probably the
court.
problem. If you've only seen him in the uniform, in a
I'll
two-piece.
say ASAP, Pharrell. I think the list is pretty good. I think when you get to him, you're like, okay. But I will say I'm curious. On May 5th, that's when we're gonna that's when the Met Gala is happening. And I can't wait. I'm probably gonna go live. I might go live to check
I
that to
can
show the style.
I am
You now you're
so
interested. Now you're
nervous. No,
interested.
I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous.
Why?
Oh my
Don't be
God.
nervous. Some of the, I mean, I think it'll be a struggle for some. Let's hope there's no blackface. That's all I'm hoping for.
That's what I'm saying. Blackface and Jordans. I feel like this is like,
The spray tans will be really serious.
oh my God. Oh my
Super
gosh.
fine.
I'm
Super
so
fine.
nervous.
Okay, but that's what shines.
I wonder what Gail will wear. Do you think she'll wear her astronaut suit?
I don't know if Gail's invited. Although
She
maybe
probably
that's
is.
why she did. Anna may put her on there because
She's trying to Oprah her
Katie's
dinner.
always there. Katie's always there.
Oh my God. This is gonna
But
be so painful.
I can't wait. I'm actually super excited. I was most excited by the Vogue spread. I loved it. I thought it was just showcased so many beautiful people, and I don't think they're props.
No,
I
they're
think
not.
this could be when you look at the fine line, this could be representation. We own fashion. We have been the leaders of style, and everyone has followed us. This is kind of giving someone their flowers.
Girl, I am all with it for the Black excellence components of
All
this.
that, and I always love the black photo from the Met Gala. I will say I'm a lover of the Met Gala. It's going to be interesting because you're supposed to be a little bit avant-garde and a little bit over the top. So it's going to be interesting how super fine and black tailoring, how that kind of comes together. It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I have a list of people that I have a feeling the word fascinating is not going to be the word. Or maybe it is when they come on go,
Kim,
fascinating choice.
well, I think, this has been a really great conversation. One, the lessons that we are walking away with, don't be used by a billionaire. Don't get on don't get on a spaceship and stay
Keep
aware.
one eye open.
Don't trust.
Always.
It's
Keep one eye.
2025. Y'all should know better. It
Right.
actually, it's 2025.
Right.
Y'all should know better.
Yeah. February is a time where you can let a little thing slide. Maybe Juneteenth. If one of your friends is having a Juneteenth party and is asking you what they should make, maybe let it slide. But
I mean, potato salad with raisins,
girl,
sure. Don't
no.
come to my house with that. But my point is,
I
I
have
think
a
that
really I actually I'm not gonna share it, but I have a really Juneteenth is a day. Keep your eyes wide open. Well, I don't
I
know if
don't
we're
think
allowed to
I thought we
celebrate it anymore.
canceled. We
Yeah,
canceled. They
are we
canceled
allowed to
Juneteenth.
celebrate it? It's not a
We don't
thing.
have girl, we don't have Juneteenth. We don't have Black History Month. I'm celebrating the Mexican holidays at this point because
Oh God.
well, thank you. Well, I'm truly grateful for our listeners who continue to put up with us and listen to the shenanigans. So continue to like, follow. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Girl.
Hey, it's Jessica. Thanks for listening to Girl Call Me. If you have something to add or a story to share, come on over to Instagram or Facebook and join the conversation. Also, make sure you follow and subscribe Girl Call Me. You don't want to miss when we release new episodes. Thanks for listening.